I doubt even what it is. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ashley Haden's Political Breakdown, a show where I go around the news with some guests who are available at the time. This week, my guests are...
Chris Betts.
And...
Bob Walshy Walsh.
Fantastic. Right, who's got a story to start with?
Well, you both looked at me, so...
What's your story?
Is it too early to talk about the whistleblower?
No.
I mean, it feels like the big one.
I mean, one of the two majors, certainly.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
this, and then didn't Boris Johnson finger a subordinate and then give her loads of money?
I don't think she was ever subordinate.
Okay. Oh, fair enough. No,
So-
just a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
naked
let's
friend.
start with the whistleblower then. So Trump, we may have finally got something that even he can't get away from.
It might be that even he looks that way. Did you watch his press conference the other day?
No.
He was a defeated man.
He really looked beaten up, didn't he?
He really did.
Was beaten up.
He had like
I've
no
never seen him
energy.
like
There was
that.
not even when he was hitting like his talking points of like the Bidens made millions of dollars, millions and millions. He didn't have that characteristic like millions, right? Like, if I repeat it enough, then it'll stick in your mind. He was just saying like millions and millions. It was like watching like the Eagles play Hotel California. Just no joy left in his tricks.
I mean, it's fascinating. I read the thing between Trump and the Ukraine president.
Yeah.
Now, the Ukraine president, brand new, only just been in, has no political experience whatsoever.
He's
apart
one of
from
us, isn't he?
playing.
He's
Yeah.
one of us. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
comedy actor.
Yeah.
comedy
Yeah. Not one of us. But he,
No snobbery about
yeah.
that.
But now, straight away, like the first big thing is having Trump say, "Hey, why don't you do a little bit of digging on Joe Biden?"
Yeah, but he didn't do it, and so that's got to look good for him, right?
Yeah, but he also came out. Ukraine said that they didn't expect for their side of the conversation to be leaked as well.
Yeah, that was especially dumb. What do you mean what I said's going to be out there? That's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's lucky that he didn't say anything absolutely fucking abhorrent.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know because it was a half-an-hour conversation. There's only 5 pages of transcript.
Yeah, it wasn't
so,
all of it there. It definitely wasn't all of it there.
But yeah, no, he doesn't look good on it, and it seems pretty cut and dry. I was listening to Preet Bharara. You know him? He was the ex-attorney general or governor, whatever the title was, of New York, and Trump fired him when Preet wouldn't like pledge allegiance, essentially. And he's got a very good podcast that you should listen to after this one. But he was saying like, yeah, this is fairly cut and dry. Like, we've put politicians away for much less than this, which is thrilling.
But impeachment is going through the House.
Yeah. They just served the first subpoena like yesterday.
Yeah. And they're already getting subpoenas anyway for New York. The New York Attorney General has subpoenaed Trump's taxes for the past 8 years, but that's on something else. That's with the paying of Stormy Daniels.
Yeah. Oh, Deutsche Bank has said that they have the records of 2 of his kids as well. And that's part of the subpoena as well, so we're going to get to see that. They haven't named which 2, but let's just say it's probably not Eric.
It's going to be the one that that Trump doesn't fancy, and he's got the other, he's got that daughter that he doesn't want to fuck, and so it's probably going to be her, and then like the baby one.
He gave her like a co-op bank account. She's not in the dealings.
And you get your own ISA.
Yeah.
You've got billions. You've got billions. You've got billions. Got yourself a shares ISA.
Yeah. You have a nice day.
Yeah, I've not been totally up with this, but what I want to bring up again was just how beaten up he looked in that interview. I was shocked. I didn't feel sorry for him in any way, but I really was shocked. I just couldn't believe how beaten up he was. That was a man who just took a kicking.
Yeah.
The New York Times bringing out details of the whistleblower. Do you think that's right or wrong?
I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think they should be protected until after it's done, and maybe then protected still.
I think I agree as well. I haven't read enough about that particular part, but from what I know, the details that they gave away hurt him but didn't add anything significant to the story.
Well, no, because they reported that the whistleblower's employer and expertise, citing 3 unnamed people familiar with the individual's identity. What's wonderful about that is those 3, the sources are we keep them no one knows. No one knows. You're anonymous.
Yeah.
But the whistleblower, and they haven't said their name, but they have gone right. They work here and they do this.
And they live here and they're 6'2" and their first name starts with a B. Now, to be fair, the sources that they will have quoted on that will have demanded anonymity before giving a quote, and so that, whereas opposed the whistleblower didn't do that. So from a journalistic standpoint, there is a difference.
Yeah, I do not think that whistleblowers get the protection that they deserve in the world.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Not even just in the US or the UK. Just whistleblowers, and they're so important.
I know Manning, for instance, locked up in a cell for 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But the European Union have started bringing out laws for protecting whistleblowers.
Good.
That was a couple of months ago they started doing that.
Okay, good. That'd be nice to see. I mean, I understand why they don't get protected, because by nature the people that they are outing are the ones that decide on the laws.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you wouldn't set a law that would put you in jail.
Companies as well and all of this stuff. If you whistleblow against a company,
exactly,
you have to go to the HR. I know everyone likes to think that the HR are there as the middle people. They're not.
They're not. They're
not
fireable.
at all.
Yeah.
Then they go, now, this could cost me my job. There's no good people in the world.
Yeah. Did you see Edward Snowden is petitioning France to have him because he wants to leave Russia, and now that Macron and Trump are icy as fuck, he's hoping that France might be like, you know what? Yeah, come on over. just as a middle finger to the States.
I look forward to, in a couple of years, Snowden going, well, I'm done with Paris. Barbados, will you have me? where else I want to visit on my bucket list?
That would be, I mean, that's the life he deserves.
Okay, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, like, what Snowden did was fantastic. Those who compare, like, Snowden to Assange, I think are wrong. With regards to Snowden, though, he did a little while ago attempt to bring out an app that was just mining people's data.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just exquisite.
Yeah.
You're going, here's an app. What does the app do? Oh, it takes everyone's data. Oh, nice. Well done. Delightful.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with a lot of these heroes, you gotta take them in the moment that they were at their best.
Yeah.
Just move on to the next one.
You cannot have a hero. Heroes are fundamentally, they don't exist. No hero exists. We're going to find out 5 years, Greta is going to be fucking sucking off Magaluf. This is it.
There are a lot worse things that she could do. I feel like that's a good way to enjoy her late teens.
But there are no... If you create heroes, you only create them to fall. That's what happens with Corbyn, that's what happened with Aung San Suu Kyi. So every hero that you have, if you look at them deep enough, everyone from fucking Mandela to Gandhi, you look at them deep enough, they're not good people.
That's why the best ones are always like, it's not really about me.
Yeah.
It's about this idea. Come on, guys. Like, if I get shot,
almost forget I'm here.
Yeah.
Certainly. Well, I think we've covered whistleblowers. Now the other news. Supreme Court and and Boris Johnson.
That was hilarious.
I mean, you guys take the lead on this one. I'm for, and I got more questions than answers on this one.
Boris Johnson, he keeps on using the surrender, the Ben bill. I want to start with this bit because the Ben Act, he keeps on calling the Surrender Act.
Yeah, no.
And where everyone
language accused of.
Yeah. Everyone's saying, stop doing that. We keep on getting death threats, and they keep on quoting you.
Yeah.
Please stop doing it. And he's not going to. He said to the 1922 committee, which is a committee that helps to keep the Conservative Party in check, he said to them that we will not stop.
What a great name that it's based in the past.
Yes. But he said that we will not stop doing it because focus groups have shown that it's working.
Yeah.
So that's why they're doing it. So surrender, traitors, enemies, and all of this.
The other side, never say they always say crashing out with a no deal, don't they? So it's it's a similar approach, isn't it?
It's a different style of rhetoric, though. Surrender, that doesn't make it a war. That makes it a failure. That makes it a collapse of some kind. Whereas surrender, traitor, those are you are betraying the nature of our nation.
Yeah, well, I see from on Twitter, I see that from Brexiteers all the time. I don't think you see a possible any post at all without those words in them.
Yeah.
Literally, they're part of their day-to-day language.
That's what's scary is the fact that nature, as opposed to crashing out, is it then makes whoever's on the opposite side an actual enemy, not someone who's at fault, not someone who's making a mistake, someone that needs to be stopped, and that encourages the violent thoughts.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you say
Jess Phillips,
if you're saying crashing out, there's no one that you're not even placing blame really on someone. It's this is what happens if you have a crash. But if someone does a hit and run, then you've got blame on someone. If you're hitting surrender, then you are saying, right, these are the people that need to... Just the other day, yesterday I think it was, a bloke was arrested for trying to get into Jess Phillips' parliamentary office shouting fascist. Yeah. Now, here's the thing, there is a lot of use of fascist, and everyone does like to say fascist. Yeah. And I've said it many a time with regards to Brexit and all of this, and their attempt to take away any form of expert, create division, do it us versus them, and trying to stop Parliament, trying to stop Supreme Court, our laws and everything else. Yeah. But all of those things are the workings of fascism.
Yeah, well, there's a direct comparison with the ultimate fascist example. Where there's a direct comparison, like the memes, the way it's been
the
done.
Propaganda.
Then I don't mind the use of the word fascism. It is used too easily, and I'm getting really annoyed with the left that I come from, just chucking it in there with every argument.
Yes.
I'm really sick of it.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of people just use it as someone who's craving power as opposed to fascism.
Actual fascism.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if people start using authoritarianism, fine, because that's what that is what everyone is actually looking at doing. Yeah. Boris Johnson, Dominic Cummings, all of this, they want an authoritarian state. Yeah. They want absolute power with no one being able to tell them that they're wrong. Yeah. That is what they're looking to do. With someone like fascism, not so much, mainly because I don't think they would have the organisation for it.
Or even the personality.
No. No. I mean,
they've never got the trains to run on time.
Charming.
You can say what you like about fascists. Charming fellas. Yeah. Charming fellas.
The trains run.
They're likeable, you know.
But I mean, you had where we are at the moment with wording and how we use everything. The BBC are culpable for this as well. Yeah. Because you had Brendan O'Neill, who has never found an opinion that he can't make worse. It's impressive. If you were to have a fucking mass murderer go along and say that he was a Brexit fan, within a day, Spiked will have a article from Brendan O'Neill saying you should just ignore the murders, and actually he's making some very valid points.
If you don't think about all the skins he wore and listen to his words.
But you had that, and then you had Brendan O'Neill was yesterday saying that there should be riots.
Wow.
Yeah, not getting a note. Yeah, on BBC.
Wow.
Yeah, saying that there should be riots because they haven't got a no deal. Because we're not going to do a no deal. There should be.
Jesus, man.
He is inciting hatred. And my thing with this is he's inciting violence. And
can anyone find what he tweeted during the Brixton riots, please?
Oh, mate, it's not going to be fucking good, is it? You know, it's going. Yeah. But this is the thing with this, and you had Rob Burley, who's like the editor of Politics at One or whatever that show is. He was saying, well, we had him on. And he defends his own words because we didn't know he would do this. You go, well, I mean, you're not having Amjad Chowdhury on. Yeah. Like, this is the thing. If you're gonna have people who are just pushing hate, have them all on. Yeah. Have all of them. Have every fucking hate preacher that you want on. But if you have hate preachers on, admit you're having hate preachers on.
Yeah.
And then you had Farage saying that he said something about knifing, go out and knife people type of thing. I can't remember the exact words. So I don't want to say exactly what he said. But he was again inciting violence. And these are what these people do. I mean, Farage once said that if we didn't get a Brexit, he would go out with a rifle.
That's right. Yeah, pick up a rifle.
Yeah.
Jesus,
I've heard that rhetoric.
Which would be the funniest.
No,
I've heard that rhetoric back from like friends from football, right-wing Brexiters, people that I've known all their lives, and I'm not going to stop talking to them over that sort of thing. Now, and they're coming back with that rhetoric. They really are coming back with talking about riots, and so within 2 days of hearing it on TV, I then see my football mates posting it on Facebook.
Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, is there a way to stop this? Is there a way to stop, or is this an inevitable that we are going to get more violence, more hard right, far right stuff going on? And it is far right, not alt right. I do not allow alt right on this show.
That's fair.
You're not allowed to say alt right.
Yeah.
It's made up. It's bollocks.
All right. Well, alt right, just because you're not allowed to tell me I can't say something.
I fucking can, mate. Freedom of speech has nothing on here.
It does say nothing, doesn't it? All right, it really.
It's far right. It's just
a euphemism.
It's a repackaging.
Yeah, rebranding.
Yeah, and for some reason we're allowing it. And I've made the point before. You've got paedophiles who are trying to rebrand now.
Oh yeah, that's right. What are they called again?
Maps. It's minors something.
Yeah, I look forward to that catching on. Yeah. Also, MAPS is already a word.
Fuck are you
that's their acronym, because they can always find a child.
I don't know how you guys feel, but I think that what might put sort of the hammer in it is I think a big war is coming within about a year and a half, because there's too many strong men in charge of too many countries. Yeah. And they're never happy with the territory they've got.
Well, I'm surprised we're not in Iran already.
And so I hope that we never
The rhetoric is definitely...
they want to go. The States wants to go. But there's no reason to. It's ridiculous.
Well, they've sent troops to help Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. But I don't think they have the political will to get an actual war going, especially in the Middle East again. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, because I mean, no love lost with the Iranian government, but they're not the ones that are going to suffer.
No.
So I really, really hope that doesn't happen. But I think
it's a very different war. It's not going to be the same thing. These are really well-trained soldiers, and they're really, this is a whole different war. They're not going to be able to walk in like they did in Iraq and just smash the place up. This will be a really serious war, and
I don't think that'll happen. I think it'll be China or Russia first. But I think that is one of the only things that can take the divisions that are happening right now and sort of glue them back together for a period.
Or an alien invasion.
Also possible. Thank you, H.G. Wells. But yeah, I think that otherwise this is going to simmer for a long time and get ugly. I think you're going to start seeing fights in bars and things.
Yeah, because...
Well, Trump would be asking the aliens to get some dirt on the other lot as well.
Yeah. Well, so you think it's going to be like us against China or us against Russia?
Maybe both.
I mean, that's just not winnable.
Yeah.
It's simply, unfortunately, it's just not winnable. I mean, you've got China at the moment, which is one of my favourite stories of this week. China have been accused of...
Is this harvesting organs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah. Well, they supposedly they stopped in 2015, didn't they?
Sure, they did.
But but it's but they're using, because they've put all of the what is it, the Uyghur? Yeah, the Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps for ages. So re-education camps, concentration camps. Yeah. And so when they die, I've seen their organs, and they're going, now that's proper supervillain. Yeah, man. That is so much fun. Yeah. Because when I read it, there's the photo. They had it of a decorative mask with tears going down. You're going, oh, that's one hell of a that's beautiful. Look at that. I laughed out loud. I was say that. It was lots of...
Yeah, do you know the Falun Gong?
Yeah, they're the other ones.
They're the ones that were doing it, because they had a setup outside the Chinese embassy in Vancouver, where I'm from, and they were there my whole childhood, and it would just be like, one person meditating in a hut outside, but also with signs being like, they're harvesting the organs of my family, essentially. And like all Falun Gong, and it had all the information on it. And they were there my whole childhood. And then the Canadian government moved them when a trade deal with China was coming. And so you don't see them around very much. I see them in the streets in the UK now.
Yeah, no, they set up around Camden for quite a while, for quite a few years when I was living up that way, and yeah, there was always at least one of them there. But sometimes there were some really big amounts of people there.
Yeah. Yeah, so China's never going to stop doing that. And also, did you see the videos from when they had the Beijing Olympics? And there were videos of cops taking people's houses, like shit out of their houses, and throwing it into the streets because they refused to move so that a stadium could be built. And so the police were like terrorizing their own citizens. So imagine what they'll do come war.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They are state first.
It's worrying. Now, I've got a question with regards to this. Now, they are are considered a communist country. Are China far left?
No. They're in that... Here, I have a problem with this left-right stuff a lot of the time when it's on the extremes, because I think that it's a false narrative. Like, the difference between... People say, like, Stalin and Hitler are like, they meet up again at the top.
Yeah.
But that means it's not sides. So I think we talk
It's
left,
a big old
right,
circle.
because there's like a... I don't even think that. The way that I see it is it's a whole other intention. Because when you talk about left and right, it's mostly about how much you get taxed and where the money goes.
Yeah.
It's an economic argument. Whereas the people that just want power, they just want power. They don't care about the money except for their money. And so it's not about that. So I think we should have the left, the right, and the bottom.
That's not a bad idea.
The bottom are the people that are just out for themselves. China is the bottom. Donald Trump is the bottom. Boris Johnson is the bottom.
So the idea of them being like the far right or the far left or anything like this, they're just fucking...
It's nothing to do with any of them. They use those as a flag to wrap themselves in. It's got nothing to do with the cause that they purport to represent. And I think you've seen that with Boris going back and forth with Brexit. You've seen it with Erdogan in Turkey, back and forth supporting things and then taking it away.
Yeah.
I'm pro-democracy. I'm against democracy. I'm anti-Islam. I'm pro-Islam. He's all over the place. These guys only care about themselves. So to talk about them on the spectrum of left to right is disingenuous. They are the bottom.
Yeah. No, I don't make you wrong.
Yeah. I quite like that.
Tell your friends.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
I mean, if more people watch this, it may get further. Unfortunately, not going to happen. That's just between us three. With regards to, before we get back onto Boris and everything else, with regards to Saudi Arabia and potential war, Liz Truss, who is the International Trade Secretary, has admitted that the UK have breached the court order banning sales of weapons and equipment to that could be used in a war to Saudi Arabia for the third time.
Oh, every country does that.
It was banned a few months ago. Went to court, banned because to sell weapons to Saudi Arabia, we need to do a civilian risk assessment to find out just how dangerous selling these bombs to countries are.
Yeah.
And we haven't been doing it that well. So court went, well, I mean, for me, the whole idea of the civilian risk assessment for bombs.
Are we selling them dangerous bombs?
No,
that's the mistake we've been making. Yeah, we're those gay bombs that I heard about.
And they got lovely bombs. And
what a great thing that they're like, the gay bomb, it wouldn't just turn you gay, it would make you just start fucking immediately. In their mind, there was no delay. Like the idea of their country would just leave their head in the middle of a war zone in the trenches. Give me that asshole, Rick.
That would be particularly lovely to do to Saudi Arabia as well, wouldn't it?
It would have a special irony to it, yeah.
But this is
chucking themselves off a roof.
Yeah.
But you had to come and say it in Parliament after emergency questions, going, well, you keep saying, yeah, we've done it for a third time. It is 10 days after they had to go to the Court of Appeal to say we fucked up twice, and to all doing it. Now, I know that politicians don't lose their jobs anymore. I mean, it's harder to get rid of politicians than herpes. But should she go?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, of course.
Certainly.
Broke the law 3 times.
Yes.
Get out.
And I mean, just the idea of doing it continually and being shocked that they're going, oh, we've fucked up again. Going, this isn't like drinking gone off milk.
Yeah.
Just trying to go, oh, no, that's bad. Put it in your tea. Oh, fucked up again.
Oops. Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I mean, you're killing, and especially the people in Yemen, who, for some reason, I haven't done enough research on why Saudi Arabia hate Yemen having funerals.
Wait, so the half of it is Saudi Arabian proxy armies and half of it is Iranian proxy armies, and they're fighting it out in Yemen. And so it's a proxy war between the two.
So it was like
Spain
the US and Russia in Syria.
Yes. Yeah.
Also this week, another Middle East fun. US have come out to say that Syria used chemical weapons on their own people back in May. This time, not going to bomb Syria for it though. So
yeah, that didn't work out last time. So.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's something like 95% of all chemical weapon attacks in Syria have been shown to be the Syrian government, and 5% have been like ISIS.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And you just go, well, I mean, this was meant to be the red line.
Yeah, but I mean, how many countries have they tried to do regime change in the last 20 years, and how many of them have worked?
But I mean, yeah, you'd have to find a way that isn't just putting people in. You can't just you can't world police everything. But this is the UN. This is the law. This is the war of law that we've got, or the law of war that we've put in to try to make ourselves seem a bit more civilized when we go out and murder. And this was meant to be after the Second World War. This was it. This was the line drawn.
First World War.
Yeah, first. Yeah,
I think League of Nations had that shit in it.
Yeah. You could do what you like. If you want to go up to someone and say, "Oh, what's that?" and kick him in the bollocks, that's fine. But do not use chemical weapons.
Yeah.
This is it. And for ages, that was our big thing. I mean, apart from
but that's because no one was using it.
Yeah. Oh, apart from napalm,
Yeah.
that the US used in Vietnam, or tear gas that everyone uses on their own people, which is illegal in war.
Is it?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a chemical weapon, so you cannot use tear gas in war.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's heartbreaking. That makes me genuinely sad. I laugh when I'm sad. I'm one of those weirdos. When I hear something really sad, I just start laughing because it's just like it's all I can do.
I think I have that as well. You just see something genuinely sad.
I always find it amazing that they're illegal, but the bombs that can just wipe out whole towns are not illegal.
Well, they're conventional weapons.
Yeah, conventional weapons, but there's still loads of dead people.
Yeah,
no, but we
guess
try
the mode of suffering in theory.
Yeah, it's just a bit weird that we don't ban the bombs, but they're not allowed to use a bit of mustard gas.
Well, things like this, I think it probably has something to do like the speed of death and how like it's fine to burn to death, but as long as you don't burn to death with a chemical, just pure fire.
I wonder if it's also just from things like, I wonder, it'd be interesting to find out if it was something to do with keeping the Commonwealth together after the British sent all the Australians and New Zealanders over the fucking ledge at Gallipoli. We're just like, you'll be fine. They did that to Canadians as well.
Oh, yeah,
it was on one of the African campaigns. They knew
and
they knew
the
mustard gas was
Indians
coming.
As well,
and the English just sat on the beach and they sent all the Canadians through. So it'd be interesting to find out if it was like listen, we fucked everybody that we rely on for trade. Should we just say that it's wrong? Just we're not going to apologize, but we'll just not allow that thing anymore.
All the stuff that we did, really bad. You don't do that. You've
got to learn from our lesson.
If you want retribution, you do it on the track.
Yeah.
You beat us in the Commonwealth Games, my friend.
Oh, I thought you meant like rat beef. You put it over beets, son. On the arms trading thing, I was reading an interesting thing about that. Do you know Robert McNamara?
Nope.
There's a really good documentary called The Fog of War where it's an interview with him. He was one of the leading voices for the buildup of nuclear weapons and for the Vietnam War. He was the head of Ford Motor Company and then became Secretary of Defense under, I want to say Nixon, but I don't want to guarantee that, but in that era.
Yep.
And might have been LBJ. But what he did, and this is what we're still feeling the repercussions of now with these arms sales, is he took the Fordist method of production and he put it into arms because people used to just produce arms that they needed. But then what he saw was that because of the scale of production, you would save a lot of money if you made a lot more, and then you could make money back if you sold those extra weapons to other countries. And so the States did that first, and then a bunch of other countries took that on, and so everybody started selling weapons to everybody, and then you had all this stockpile, and your production was based on the selling of the extra arms. And so what would happen is when there was an embargo on a country, let's say Saudi Arabia, you can't stop selling to them, because if you won't sell to them in their time of greatest need, then you're not a supplier that they can rely on, and so they won't buy from you in peacetime either. And so as a business interest, every single country, Sweden does it. Everybody sells arms to countries that are embargoed. It's just like a quiet fact about the international arms trade.
You thought they'd have some form of morals.
I'm shocked at Sweden.
Yeah. Sweden was caught doing it to, I think it was Iraq during the war.
Yeah,
I think it was Iraq, but don't
they
quote me
claimed
on that.
that they're another one that's claimed that they've stopped now. It was
They never claimed to be doing it in the first place.
Yeah, but a year or so ago, they put into law to not sell weapons to like certain places.
Well, but these were like UN international, like agreed upon. They'd signed the declaration that they wouldn't sell to these countries.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
an arms embargo on.
Yeah,
and they
so
sold
it's not
anyways.
going to stop them.
Yeah, I don't think
it's something that doesn't sadden me somewhat when you see that the already awful things you find a way to get worse. It's like governments are bad. They're just bad. When you find out that they do like arms dealers also sell them to people that you shouldn't sell them to. You shouldn't sell them to anyone. It's like with Brazil and the deforestation. Find out that the majority of the deforestation in Brazil actually comes from illegal deforestation, from mafias and stuff like that. They go, I mean, it's awful that the mafia are awful criminals and everything else, but they're all also climate change deniers. That just hurts. You know, it's like finding out that ISIS are anti-vaccination. They're going, I mean, come on, you're already cunts. Let's not continue to be cunts.
Well, I think we should pay them not to do that. We should pay them to
the
protect
great thing
it.
that's what tips it.
It's just like
We should be paying them to not do that.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Should we just handing them money to not?
No,
do
because then they've got you by ransom. Then as soon as you stop paying, then they can start upping the price.
I think it's quite a reasonable thing.
But
to do for
that's
the
a
West.
protection racket. Then that's what you're paying them. Is like you give us money, they show up to your force, and they go, give us. It's a pretty force you got here. It'd be a shame if someone burned it down. You know. So it'd be great if it worked, but it unfortunately it just never does.
I mean, especially with their current fucking president, Jesus Christ.
He's a monster, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is an absolute. I dislike that he's like he's called like the Brazilian Trump. He's not. He's smarter than fucking Trump, and arguably worse.
Yeah, he reminds me more of the guy that's in charge of the Philippines. Duterte or something. Yeah. I just realized I've never heard it out loud.
Yeah, well, he doesn't get to say his fucking name right and go fuck himself.
He is a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's an absolute
I
piece
really
of
feel
shit.
for the indigenous people. I think this is a really dangerous time for them.
I hope no one ever says his name correctly.
Duterte?
Yeah, I hope never.
Dufarte.
Dufarte.
There, I said it. Yeah, that's right.
Comedy license going now.
Talking about racism, as we were doing.
I didn't do the accent.
Oh no, me as well. He doesn't deserve it. He deserves all the racism he gets.
I do not condone that message.
You're an awful man. You kill innocent people. You deserve all the racism. All of it. Get to him. I don't care if you're being racist towards Inuits as long as it's aimed at him.
An interesting angle on that.
just all the race, every piece of racism that you want, just direct it at him. That's a cracking idea. That's how you start. You get evil people, and then like Trump, you'd be racist towards Trump and say all the racist stuff you want to say that you've got bottled up inside because you're awful people. Just aim it at Trump.
Okay, like an outlet.
Yeah,
like that's where you get it out instead of actually hurting people.
Instead of actually hurting people.
Yeah.
All your racism goes out. Like you see, Duterte or whatever his fucking name is. You get to go up to him and say, you know the problem with you Mexicans.
Yeah.
You aim at him, point at him, and say it to him. He gets all the racism.
I mean, I'd love to see a structure where you could really do that. I mean, there's got to be like a secure Twitter line that you can set up where you just get it out. I mean, yeah, that might make it better, like a fight club for racists.
Yeah.
Where you just get it out.
Aim it. All the awful people go up to Putin and say, the problem with you Chinese, just a Putin though.
Yeah,
but you just aim it at Putin.
Yeah. I mean, that's got some good ideas in there, man. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it works out.
I mean, I'm gonna write some comedy on it.
I want to see a business plan tomorrow.
And I don't get a chance to be racist very often. It would be really interesting.
Exactly. You can just get out all of your anger, all your sexism, all your racism, all your homophobia.
Yeah.
Just aim it directly at one person.
And then I guess once they've got it off their chest, they're feeling maybe more reasonable.
Yeah.
And then you can gradually talk them. It's the methadone to heroin of racism.
It's like it's like having it's like if you're horny and you have a wank.
Yeah.
You know, you just feel
Just
better.
get it out, and you make a
you
better
get it out,
decision.
and then you're
Yeah.
going, you know what? People aren't that bad.
Yeah. I mean,
And hopefully we make these people cry.
I wasn't sold at first, but you're bringing me around now.
That's what we need. I'm going to need to remember that for after this. But back to racism.
Yeah.
Where we were. BBC this week. Did you see with what's her name? Naga Manchetti.
Yes.
Oh, was this? I heard bits about it, but you're going to have to refresh my memory.
Oh, the BBC have been urged to overturn its decision to uphold a complaint against breakfast host Naga Manchetti. The BBC claim that she broke the rules whilst discussing remarks by Trump that she said were embedded with racism. BBC say that the ruling was over her giving her opinion about the individual or the motives for doing so.
And the racist comment was about going home.
Yes.
Okay. So something that's clearly racist.
It's
Yes.
clearly racist.
And so it's not her opinion that it's racist. It's
No.
base level. Everyone
Yes.
understands this is racist.
And I mean,
it's not even a dog whistle. It's
Yeah.
just
She was
straight up.
invited to share her experience on it because she's experienced it
Yeah, 'cause-
as an Asian English.
Dan Walker, who's her co-host, turned to her and said, "What do you think about this?" Almost, I mean, if he knew about the BBC editorial rules, he'd basically chucked her under a bus.
Yeah.
And just went, hey.
I can't wait to host this show alone.
I don't think he's the brightest actually, but
Host the morning show. I'm sure he's sweet.
Yeah, I know he is. He's delightful and always enjoys slapping down Piers Morgan on ratings. So
Okay. Oh, well, someone's got to do it, I guess. Good for him.
respect him on that.
Yeah.
But Trump was going on about to go home and all this stuff, and he asked Naga, "Have you dealt with this?" Yeah, like occasionally people told me to go home. It's a racist thing. This isn't better than racism. And the BBC went, "No. We need some neutrality here."
Well, that's how much of the BBC is their rules are dictated on the complaints that they receive.
Well, the reason that Dan Walker wasn't put in trouble is because no one complained about Dan Walker.
So it is about complaints. So they're just trying to be like, okay, we can't have any complaints, or else the Tories will take even more money away from us.
yeah.
Man, that's a shame. So they're coming from a place of weakness and fear, and so they're just
Well, this is
extra
the problem
covering.
because when everyone says that the BBC is biased, they go, well, the BBC is biased based on who's holding the fucking
Purse
coffers.
strings,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because they know. I mean, you've got the
They're
BBC.
biased the way you get biased towards your boss.
Yeah.
Your boss likes fishing? Oh, I was out fishing
Yeah,
the other week, boss. Oh, it was such a good time. Caught a trout this fucking big. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, if you look at the BBC Trust and you see the people who have been put on the BBC Trust, they're going, so like 50 to 60%, you're all friends with the fucking Tories.
Okay.
Every single one of you. So I can see why they're pushing.
And do they have editorial control?
No,
or
but they
input?
have they have editorial control in the same way the likes of fucking Murdoch do. You know,
Okay.
it's you always look at the fucking shadow over you. They're not. I mean, the BBC aren't. They're doing their best, but they are failing constantly. Like I saw with the Boris Johnson being referred to the police watchdog. So he's been referred to the police watchdog for what is it for whether or not Johnson should be investigated for the criminal offence of misconduct. Now Theresa Villiers, who is the environmental secretary, who's also pro-fracking. What fun! But she came out today, or today or yesterday, and said that she thought that this was politically motivated. And so the BBC, their Twitter for this article, Boris, it was like Boris prosecution or something, was politically motivated. And that's the headline.
That's it.
Yeah, but with
With quotes around it.
Well, yeah, apostrophe either side of the politically motivated. They're going, well, yeah, but no one's looking at the nuance of how you've written it.
Yeah.
You've literally just said, as your headline, Boris Johnson's investigation is political. Yeah. They're going, this isn't right. You can't do that. You want to talk about being impartial. You've just literally said to everyone who looks at it, who's not going to look at the nuance of you putting fucking an apostrophe on each pissing side, that it's politically motivated.
Yeah.
People look at you for trust, for news, and this is what you're doing as a headline.
Just gave them a talking point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I looked at the BBC. They said it was politically motivated, so I don't even agree with it.
Yeah, I mean textbook garbage journalism. It's very bad.
And the BBC should be
not
like
much else to say about that.
Like BBC News, like ITV News, Channel 4 News, TV News. The 30 minutes you get, I'm fine with all of that. I think that's fantastic.
Okay.
Because it is just news.
Yeah.
They're not there putting opinion or anything else. It's like, this is what we've done. This is what we've seen.
Well, I guess they don't have to update every half hour
exactly.
as well. They're not always.
Oh yeah, I mean, 24-hour has ruined news. Yeah. That's why Private Eye's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they spent 2 weeks fucking going over it.
Yeah.
Right. But on the Boris Johnson stuff, what do we feel about this?
About what
the investigation, the Miss, what's her name?
He gave money to a company that doesn't do anything.
Jennifer Arcuri is her name. The U.S. entrepreneur Jennifer Arcuri received public money and privilege. Well, allegedly received public money and privileged access to foreign trade missions whilst Boris Johnson was mayor. Now, this comes from receiving £100,000 taxpayer-funded grant for something that
it wasn't providing the service that she said it was.
Yeah, it was like a tech company that didn't have any tech.
Yeah. But one of the criteria for eligibility is to have over £200,000 to invest. The company, which is a hacker house, were almost always in the red. So straight away, I mean, the minister who was put in front of the wolves at BBC Parliament this week said, yes, but we decided to not take that bit, and they hit all of our other criteria. I'd say they hit everything apart from the money side.
Yeah.
Like the side that you want.
Yeah, also that doesn't sound like the one thing they would not look at.
Yeah.
Judging by the way the government
top
does
of the
business.
Should be top of the
money
list.
is always number one.
Yeah.
Or at least number two.
So this company, the phone goes to the US. Its business address was a rented flat in Macclesfield until a couple of days ago, where amazingly they're now in an office in London.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Crazy.
You're going, there's a lot of stuff on us at the moment. They already know we're in Macclesfield. Say we're in. Let's say
I think it's the £100,000 blowjob, didn't you?
Yeah, you reckon?
I do reckon, yes. I'm going to say that out loud. He paid £100,000 for the blowjob, I reckon.
Hey, if you get sued from this, it's going to make my show go fucking flying.
That was something, because I read an article about it the other day, and I was amazed at the level that they insinuated that they'd been sleeping together. Oh yeah, there was no fucking. That was really, because it was like, okay, so he gave money to a company that didn't have, and the whole time the article's like, but that money wasn't free, I was like, this is weird journalism.
Well, because he supposedly spent a lot of time.
Pye's done said it already, well, by the way, so we can't.
I mean, Jonathan Pye can go fuck himself.
You heard it here first.
With the he spent a lot of time over at her flat getting technology lessons.
What? Come on, man.
That is it. That's what they're saying.
What is a technology lesson? What is?
I assume something that goes.
I was getting language lessons. Which language? No, your fucking business.
I mean, if we need to prove that he did get technology lessons, someone needs to give him a laptop and give him some tests.
That's a PowerPoint presentation now.
Yeah, all night technology lessons. Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin.
show me what you learned. But I mean, Boris Johnson is known for having no care for who he's currently with.
Yeah, serial cheater.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things that amazes me that people think that he will cheat on the country or cheat on his wife, but not the country.
Yeah.
They go, mate, he's gonna be spending all of his time in America, fucking saying how much he loves them.
Oh yeah.
There's loads of little blonde kids all over the country. It's like the Village of the Damned just spread out a bit, isn't it?
Oh my God. He didn't breed with many of them, did they?
Well, supposedly he's got 5 or 6 children.
5 or 6, but how can we not know that about a Prime Minister? How can we
bunch of
not know
cunts they're
that
gonna grow up
about a
to be.
Prime Minister?
I mean, they're probably going to grow up to be quite left-leaning, because if they're going to grow up realising that their father is an absolute cunt who doesn't love them, they are not going to grow up to be Tories.
I feel like those people spend their teens and 20s as left-wingers, and then their 30s as hardcore right-wingers.
With those people, I think they do it so that they can say, "Oh, mate, I was liberal. I was a liberal."
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah,
Like that Churchill quote. I think it's I always feel like it's people being like, well, I wasn't loved, but I love everyone, and everyone should love everyone. Then they get to their 30s and they're like, no one loves anyone. It's just about me now.
I mean, that Churchill quote that people keep on fucking using, if you're not a liberal when you're young and you don't have a heart, and if you're not
you haven't got a brain.
Yeah.
What people seem to not understand is what they both stood for when he said that.
Yeah.
Like, Labour and Tories are nothing as parties where they were then.
That makes sense.
At all.
Yeah.
So him saying it there is absolutely fine, but you using it now is it's meaningless.
Yeah.
Utterly meaningless. It's why because we live in the fucking imagination of dead men all the time.
Yeah.
They're coming up, we go, oh, well, I think you'll find that Karl Marx has nothing to do with today. Plato could fucking say what he likes. Plato knows nothing about today. He didn't write for today.
Yes and no.
If you because all you're doing is forcing things. Like he said it's the same with the fucking Bible. Yeah. Oh, the Bible said this is about today. No, you're forcing that into what you consider today to be.
There is definitely people cramming pegs into wrong shaped holes, but the only thing that I want to just defend some of these writings real quick, in that the things that like I think that Marx nailed, which was mostly Hegel's work, was the dialectic of the thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. And that's how history works. I think that's been proven to be correct over and over again. But then there's also the, when Plato was right, it wasn't just about his current political climate. It was about what human beings are. And I think human nature hasn't changed drastically at all over thousands of years, maybe ever. We still have a lot of the same evils, a lot of the same intents. That's the heartbreaking thing about reading Plato, is when you see the same problems were problems in his time. You go, we really haven't gotten any better.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in the Bible. What the Bible nails will be what's human. Same with Shakespeare. It'll nail what's human. But then you're also like, we went into war with swords. And you go, no, this is not a battle plan. We've got drones, big guy, thousands of miles away.
I think a lot of it is like listening to songs.
Yeah.
And you can always find a song that means something to you. Every song you listen to, they go, oh, this reminds you of this time, this reminds you of this time. They go, well, none of them are written for you.
Yeah.
You are creating that
you superimpose your life into the...
Yeah. You're creating this to make yourself feel not as lonely as you...
I love that. If I met Chris Martin, we'd be best friends. We're the same person. For your sake, I hope not. Have you fucking seen Chris Martin? Jesus Christ.
All right, couple more pieces of news. We're coming to the end of this. Does anyone have any news?
Yeah, Bob, did you bring one?
Did you bring some news?
Yeah, well, no, it's not really news, but I've sort of come to a decision about Jeremy Corbyn. I think that he's been beaten. He's been beaten by the press, and I think Labour need to replace him.
Oh.
and I am a member and a Corbynite. I fully believe in what he wants to do, but I think he's beaten up now. Whenever I talk to anybody, they're just literally reading our Sun headlines back to me. I think he's been done. I think that he's absolutely unelectable now.
Well, I mean, like the Labour conference was weird because it couldn't go all the way because people were actually doing work to make sure to stop an illegal prorogation that really Labour should fucking have been involved in.
Yeah, really should.
Fundamentally, they should have been there trying to at least showing their face when you've got an SNP MP and I think there was another MP, but I can't remember. No, it was Cherry and Miller. So it was just an SNP MP. Labour should have been there, going, yeah, we'll back you going to court. Yeah. I mean, Corbyn at the minute should have been showing his face there at court, going, I'm fucking with you. I'm with you 100%. Yeah. All of this, but he didn't.
No, he didn't do any of that.
Even with the conferences, where like the Labour for Free movement, they won the vote for the NEC for Labour to back free movement. Day later, when everyone was laughing at them, going, so you want to do this, but you want free movement for everyone. Diane Abbott was there going, no, we're not doing this. They're going fucking. I mean, they're so incompetent, but luckily Corbyn has shown himself to be a better orator against Boris Johnson than he ever did against Theresa May.
Okay.
Or Cameron.
Yeah, BBC part. Oh yeah, I mean Cameron fucking is a story. It comes to a point where you think it's the halcyon days of Miliband and Cameron. Ridiculous. But Corbyn has every time now battered Boris Johnson away.
Oh.
Absolutely battered him. It says just how bad Boris Johnson is on the grown-up table.
Yeah.
When all of his stuff and his bluster and everything doesn't really get far.
Yeah.
In Parliament, where Corbyn in his dullard fucking speech actually is moving further forward. But I think you're right. He's not going to get anywhere.
He's not going to get anywhere, and I'm really very keen on the project of the Labour Party. I'm very keen on the renationalisation of the rail. I'm very keen on that. I'm very keen on the project, and I think that Corbyn's actually standing in the way of it. I'm seriously seeing educated people just reading back Mail headlines to me, and it's done. Working class people. A lot of working class people, and I really just hate Corbyn, and I think that if we got someone like John McDonnell in, I think that give us a really good chance in an election.
I think John McDonnell is one of the most I think he's more dangerous than Corbyn.
Dangerous to society?
To society, yeah, because he's the one who's also said some really awful things about kicking people to fucking death of opposition and all of this. John McDonnell is not a good person.
No. I mean
Corbyn isn't a good person. No politician are good. Well, the majority are not good people. They're vile, power-hungry, mad bullshitters, every single one of them. And while they're on the backbench, that's absolutely fine. You be an absolute arsehole. Yeah. But it's like having someone like fucking Bill Cash as the leader of the Tories. You know, going, mate, I mean, if you start doing that, Sir Christopher Chope as the leader of the Tories, be a backbencher and be a vile prick there. But when you're in the front, you have to be there to bring everyone together. McDonnell, Corbyn, Johnson, all of these people, they do not have the ability to be moderate enough to get their party together, let alone a country. They simply do not have it, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
You require someone who
or have so much vision and understanding of it that people are willing to fall behind you.
Yeah.
And follow you even if it's not what everyone agrees on. But
exactly.
We trust him to take us there. Yeah.
I mean, someone just charismatic enough
to
go along.
I mean, that's not a British way. Good luck with that.
We're not. I mean, the most charismatic person that we've had recently was Rory Stewart, and you're there going, oh, come on.
Who's that kid that got on stage with, was it Giggs or Stormzy? That kid had charisma for days. At Glastonbury? The one who went up with Stormzy?
with Corbyn. Oh, God. When Grime started backing Corbyn, I was there going, this is going to go one of two ways. Either this is going to look like Grime have really picked the wrong fucking thing, or Corbyn's going to start doing diss tracks.
That'd be great. Oh, I'd love that.
I think I'd download that.
I mean, you'd have to hear it. You'd have to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, final pieces of news as we actually... Well, first off, we'll do... Do you have anything to plug?
I'm going to be
Plug into the camera.
Okay. Hi. I'm going to be on tour in Canada for the next 4 months. So check my website, thechrisbetts.com, or follow me on Twitter or Instagram at mrchrisbetts.com so you can catch me. I'm going to be in Toronto, Montreal, all that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, cool.
You'll send them over to me. I'll all put them down.
Perfect.
Underneath
Nice.
the thing.
Yeah, so that'll be it. I'll be back in the UK in February, and I'll be up at the... Yeah, I'll probably do a tour then as well. So just watch that for updates.
Yourself?
Yeah, Saturday the 5th of October, I'm not far from here at the Comedy Cabin in Hoxton. Looking forward to that very much. Pro Saturday night show. Should be good fun. But I'm not really doing that much this month. I deliberately kept it then. But I am also doing a number of Halloween shows, so catch up with me and I shall let you know about them. I'm fairly popular at Halloween with my face.
I am also gigging next weekend, but I'm doing a charity event for, I think, Macmillan. I'm not sure, where I'll explain to them why curing cancer is wrong. But
should get a receptive audience for that.
I did the same thing last year, and they asked me back. I don't know why, but
I've got
new ideas on why curing cancer is wrong as well.
Nice,
so
double down. Yeah.
I'm just making sure it's a bit more fun this time.
I'm not keen on Macmillan actually. My best friend's just been through cancer, and one of the doctors gave him some really bad advice, which my friend didn't take, and the Macmillan nurses were nagging him to take this invasive procedure, which actually probably would have killed him if he'd have done it. And
Macmillan, awful. Who knew? I'll make sure I mention that next week.
Well, they very nearly killed my best friend. So.
Right, final piece of news from yourself that we didn't get time to. The far-right group Britain First plans to step up its what is it? It's Patriot Migrant Patrols. It's called Operation Whitecliffe, where far-right arseholes patrol Sampier Hole beach in Kent, equipped with torches, binoculars and high-vis jackets. So they're hunting migrants, which is just delightful.
I'm 57. I don't want to get back on the street punching those people in the face. I'm bored of it.
And we're now getting Brexit propaganda is starting to appear in primary schools on their digital notice boards. This is 3,000 schools with things like he wants to unite the UK and him promising to put more money into schools. This is pure far-right propaganda. If you want to read any book that you choose to that talks about dystopian futures, this is the type of shit that they do.
Yeah.
So I want to thank my guests, these two, and goodbye.
Bye.